Hello, I'm the Eternal Newbie. The extra L is for locomotion. Locomotion as in a moving train, because I cannot decide if this story is more of a railroad attempt or more of a train wreck. Don't get me wrong, it is definitely both, but I'm having trouble deciding which one would be a better classification for this story. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Oh, and I am a bit under the weather, so I apologize for my voice. Here's hoping it holds out for the rest of the video. Let's get to it. For background, this was my first ever time playing, as well as my first character. My character, we'll use Kara? I'm going to go with Chara, to mention her, was a tiefling with her parentage being a devil and a fae. Explained that the devil had escaped from hell and was living in the Feywilds in hiding, where he met Chara's mom, they fell in love, were in peace for almost 300 years, and they had Chara. Mom later died due to sickness. They left the Feywilds, the devil remarried, and they were living with their family happily. No evil stepmom, no corruption of the dad, trying to make it a normal backstory. The DM took my backstory and changed it to the devil actually being an archdevil. But not only that, he was also Asmodeus' right-hand man, and a campaign where the ending is supposed to be us fighting against Asmodeus himself. I didn't say anything at the moment because I thought it would be interesting, since Chara's dad could still communicate with her every once in a while, trying to warn her of anything as secretly as he could from the big bad evil guy, since he still cared about her, like an inside man, right? Now, going back to those two sessions that wanted to make me cry when they ended. The first of the two sessions was to introduce a new player character, Warlock, who wanted to switch their character from being a guest to a permanent player. Their character also came from hell, funny enough, from the same layer of hell that Chara's dad was from. We finished the encounter in around 2.5 rounds, taking almost the entire session, as the DM didn't like that we had finished in 2-player rounds and decided to throw us a tanky as F enemy, that we have to hit a certain AC and specifically state we're aiming for a certain spot, otherwise it wouldn't count and we would just hit the main body instead of the small things on its back, which is what was doing any damage to it. Annoying, but who am I to judge as a first-time player? As we're picking up and looting the bodies, the portal to hell starts to fluctuate. And guess who comes out? None other than Chara's dad, who everyone recognizes to be Chara's dad. And I say that Chara goes running to her father in a hug as she's happy to see him and to know he's still alive. To which the wizard then says, I want to cast Wall of Force around Chara's dad before Chara can reach him, since he can't be trusted. Which I understand, but everyone has met him, were welcome in his home with open arms, gave the cleric their weapon, which they still use, and even apologized that he wasn't strong enough to fight back when he was banished back to hell by Asmodeus' avatar. He has never even once given a reason for us not to trust him. And when I asked why to the wizard, they just straight up said, it's because he's an archdevil. We don't know him. Which again, I understand, but still left me befuddled. The DM told me to make an acrobatics check to see if I could slip past the wall of force, to which I succeeded, and Chara got to hug her dad. This is where it all goes to shit. Wizard lowers the wall after being asked, because the entire party went, we can trust him, he's Chara's dad. Chara and him let go of the hug, and in comes, the effing DMPC. Now this DMC was the leader of an organization, and we as a party were forced by the DM to join, and I mean that literally. I shit you not, as the DM themselves told us, the DMPC was a level 40 character. 20 levels in fighter, and 20 levels in monk. I'm not even joking. Now the DMPC proceeded to blitz past the party to Chara's dad, hit him 8 times since action surge, with advantage because he was surprised, to which 5 hit, and the DM wanted me to make con saves for the dad and sent me Chara's father's stat sheet. Now I couldn't check this sheet correctly as I was freaking out and just made the con save, to which he had failed 1, which triggered the monk abilities and pushed him back through the portal, which wavered for a minute before closing, and that's where the session ended. Look, I've heard from fine commoners that there are good DMPCs out there, ones that don't hog the spotlight or take away player agency. I believe they exist. I also believe blue whales exist, though I've never seen either. This DMPC, though, is something special. A level 40 hammer to force the party to do whatever the DM wants them to do. And really, DM, level 40? You couldn't do better than that? He can't even rage. What a loser. At least make him level 41 and take a level barbarian. Ooh, Or maybe 61 so he could be a level 20 cleric too. I mean, if you're going to make an insanely ridiculous character like that, don't stop there. Swing for the fences. To say I was pissed was an understatement. I fought with the DM, saying Chara had Sentinel. I could have stopped the DMPC as they had to pass me to get to him. The DM said, "They were so fast, you didn't have time to react." When I said Chara would have jumped into the portal after that happened, because she'd rather go into hell with her dad than deal with the bullshit the DMPC was going to put them through, and the portal was open long enough for her to still hop through, DM response was, "Chara was in so much shock when it happened that she couldn't move, so she wouldn't be able to pass through the portal." I was livid. I nearly cried. I'm an angry crier. And when I tried to talk to one of my friends who was also a player, they told me this is what I should have expected by making Char's father an archdevil, and that I was overreacting. Again, I didn't write him to be an archdevil. This was the DM's decision. Next session was only worse. It started with the DMPC knocking out the Warlock and trying to knock out Chara, who was a con save that Chara succeeded and led to this moment where Chara was basically on her knees apologizing for not getting knocked out because the DMPC had also dislocated her jaw earlier and was getting more and more pissed at Chara for not just following their orders. Chara and the Warlock got tossed into a cell for a trial. What was the trial, you may be asking? Apparently we were on trial for betraying the party for wanting to help an archdevil escape from hell. The night passes. The trial starts and the DMPC just says that Chara is a danger to everyone for wanting an archdevil to come back to the martial plane. Again, her effing father, and that she needs to be placed on a leash. The DMPC then summons Chara's dad and makes a contract. Dad has to be completely loyal to the organization, be at their beck and call whenever they like, and if either he or Chara disobey the organization's orders, they will kill Chara's siblings. When I tell you, I yelled out, "What the F is wrong with you?" I meant it. Chara had two little siblings, twins. One of them is leading their village, and the other left to get high as F. Story for another time, because this was another thing the DM did without telling me. Chara's dad adds the condition that he'll accept the contract if they promise to make sure that Chara and her siblings will be safe. They agree and amend the contract, so instead of it being like 100 years, it will last until all the kids, this being Chara and the twins, died a natural death. What's this? The DM is using their level 40 character and Chara's dad to force her to do whatever he wants? Who could have ever seen that coming? I am so shocked. The DM seemed like such a level-headed and fair dungeon master up till now. In all seriousness, though, what the hell is the DM thinking? Seems to me he's thinking he can push around OP because they are new. Now, I've heard of railroading, but this is a whole new level of that. Like it needs a new name just to show how railroady it is. Well, railroading is like a train, so maybe airplaning? Ooh, and if we did that, we could call the worst cases the Mile High Club. Here's why that is even more bullshit. We found out that Chara's mom, who was a fae, was an archfae, meaning that Chara, with confirmation by the DM, is essentially immortal. If not, she will still live for thousands of years. Chara couldn't even put a word in, just forced into a contract alongside her father to follow the orders of an organization to which, if she ever does something the DM thinks goes against the organization, one of her siblings will be killed. After that, we were sent to a beach for therapy, and the session ends. Afterwards, the DM tells us the thing that made me want to tear my hair out. Everything that happened to Chara within those 2 sessions, it was never meant to happen. They were just pissed that we finished the encounter so quickly after they planned so long for it that they wanted to throw a curveball and that it was all an accident. But hey, that's what good storytelling is. I left the call after that. I couldn't stand any longer after that shit that Chara was forced through, just to hear that it was all never meant to happen. Now, remember that I had Chara's father's stat sheet? I still had it, and I decided to read it. I nearly threw my phone at the wall. This man had Foresight up. If you don't know, Foresight is a level 9 spell, which gives the caster advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws, and disadvantage on attack rolls to creatures trying to attack him. He also had Blind Sight and True Sight, and that's just what I saw right off the bat. There was more, so much more. He had 2 AoE effects, a Fear Aura with a 120-foot radius that had a Wisdom save with a 30 DC, and a Petrifying Gaze with a 30-foot radius with a Constitution save with a 27 DC. His AC is 35, and he has a parrying ability that gives him a plus 10 to AC. Then, on top of all that, he has legendary resistances. That is used 5 times per day. I brought all this up to the DM, trying to understand how that moment went the way it did, since multiple things can and should have prevented the entire mess from happening, if not completely changed the outcome. The DM tells me they can't tell me why DMPC just overrides everything, that the stat sheet was just for fun. They can't tell me why, as it would ruin the story for me. That it was for the story, and that's what they wanted. I stayed in the campaign for a little while after that. I spent so much time playing that I wanted to see it through, but I did eventually leave after things just kept feeling railroady. This is just one moment of several, and I do mean several, moments of that campaign that gave Char trauma and emotional turmoil for no reason. I might write about those moments too. Don't know yet. Wait, what? A 35 AC with a plus 10 parry? You know what the DM was planning for Char's dad, don't you? With stats like that, he had to be a bad guy. Probably the big bad of the entire campaign. And when he inevitably beats the players, I wonder who's going to come swooping in to save them. My guess is your friendly neighborhood DMPC. Wow, what a horrible thing to do to a player. Hey Chara, you know that father you wrote about? He's an archdevil now, hee hee hee. Oh, and that part about him being a good father who really cared for you? Throw that out the window too. I'm gonna make him the big bad. Pretty cool, right? What's that? You don't like the plan? Fine. I'll just make him sign a contract that also includes you to force you to do whatever I want. Don't worry though, I have a really good reason for this. It's called spite. But enough from me. What do you think? I would love to hear your opinions on this story, or really anything. Comments are the highlight of my day. If you're new around here, how about sticking around with a sub? I put out a video or two each week. Thank you so much for watching, and especially for making it to the end. And remember, as always, play your character. Don't let your character play you.